record. Okay, and then we are gonna go, let's see, live to the Facebook group. We'll try to do that. And we have 2 sessions. I was just telling Edwin, I am local. I'm near my office. But we have Jason Abrams here today, who is teaching the value squared in person. So I know she said that she had attended value squared on KW Connect, which is also there. I believe maybe March 27th, there's a class. I believe there's a class next week, and then there's 2 in April. So I very strongly encourage you to attend it. And we're here in person with him. But Edwin and I were talking before. I'm gonna have a little conversation with Mr. Abrams, see if we can't get him out to one of our islands. That'll be cool. Then you guys will have to fly to whatever island we can get him to. But okay, so let's go into Ignite. And so where we are, we're on 17. And we're going to go through 17, 18 today. And the next week will be our last one. And we're going to do 19 and 20 together as well. And so just to review what we've kind of accomplished, we went through the real estate expert pillar, which is understanding our job, understanding what we do. Value squared is going to be in addition to that. We really need to know how to better communicate our value to our clients. And then lead generation pillar is all about generating leads and how to grow that database through the lead generation strategies that are working for you. And like what works for Lars, even though he's talking right now, I'm going to mute him. What works for Lars might not work for Magali or might not work for Judith, maybe because of a different clientele or different island. But you need to find out what works for you. And I've shared with you a bunch of different assessments if you are looking to and I want to share, there's a chart that shows what your strengths are and what kind of lead generation suits your strengths. So I'll share that when I get to when I bump out. Then we have lead follow-up. Lead follow-up is just, okay, now you got all these leads in, and the magic really happens in putting them into a touch system. Now, I want to pop out for a second with the touch system. We had a really fabulous event in one of our market centers yesterday, which all of our coaches were sharing their best ahas and from family reunion, lead generation, and marketing. And some of the touches, I know we've reviewed that, but if you were to have an event, let's say every event gives you an opportunity, and an event, what could an event be coming up? We have springtime, maybe there's some holidays coming up with Easter coming. Maybe there's like little Easter egg hunt that you do, and you invite everybody to this place, and you're gonna, you're doing a KW Easter egg hunt, and the kids in the community are invited. Let's say that's one of the events. You can get 8 touches off of one event, right? You can get the email, the text message, the phone call, the social post, the follow-up email, the pop by, the hey, we're going to invite, all of those, and then the video of where you're going to be. You can get 8 touches off of one event. So when we talk about lead generation and then lead follow-up, how am I getting married with? How am I going to stay in touch with these people? 33 touches. Quite frankly, if you had 4 events, you could get all 33 touches in that. So if you're a type of person that says, I don't know how to use the technology, I'm not going to be really good with sending out postcards, I'm not going to be really good with putting them on the, okay, if you had 4 events a year and you used every opportunity to invite them there, that would give you 32 touches for the year. So when we layer in your lead generation follow-up, it can be in the form of an event. It could be in the form of thank you notes. It could be in the form of what we call micro events. Like maybe you just pick 8 clients and you say, hey, I'm going to do a wine dinner party at my house. I would love for you guys to get to know each other. And that becomes a little micro event. So your lead follow-up has to be a little personalized. And so it doesn't need to look textbook, especially in today's very interesting market that we're experiencing. So lead follow-up, it just strengthens relationships, right? It could be, I had an event that I was invited to this week. And ladies, this was really cool because the feedback was because it was an all women's event. That's why a lot of the older women felt comfortable to come. It was women in retirement, planning for retirement. And so at 20 years old, you should be planning for retirement. You should be planning to have a financial plan to put money in a vehicle so that you experience compound interest, right? At 60 years old, you need to be worrying about, do I have enough money for my parents and whatnot. So even an event like that, I had 4 people show up. We sat at the table together, we bonded, and that was strengthening the relationships. Now, the last leg of this has been working with the buyers and sellers and the whole transactional part of it. You do need to, this is the professionalism. When they experience how you make offers, receive offers, and negotiate on their behalf, this is your true professional. This is why they're hiring you. Don't be mistaken that they're not hiring you to get the best deal on their house, to get their house sold at the top dollar. We went over this last couple of classes. That is what they're looking for from you. They want to buy the house for the cheapest amount. They want to sell their house for the most amount. If you could do it, great. If you can't, it's nice. I like you, but that's not going to be of value to them. So we're always keeping in mind the Y4C2Ts in the transaction. And why we're saying this is because you're going to be presenting an offer to another agent right now. And it's very easy to come out of this when they're very interesting, right? When they're an interesting other side and they come at you in a different way, it's easy to just jump off of some of this teamwork and success through others. So we always need to kind of keep this in the forefront that this is how we treat people. And so we look at what today is. It's offer process, it's preparing for the offer, it's writing up the offer, presenting the offer, and receiving and responding. Now, let me ask you, if somebody can unmute and answer, how, when you present offers, are we just customary to emailing them over and then calling up the agent, or has there been a time where you've actually gone and presented in front of, let's say if you were the buyer's agent, you presented in front of the seller as well? What's customary there? Okay. Do we present, like, do you just send an email and then call up the agent, or has anybody on here ever sat down with the seller, if you're representing the buyer, sat down with the seller with the other agent being there and presented the offer? Probably not. Okay.
No,
That was something that we used to use in a market when it's very challenging, when you're not sure the skill set of the other agent. Here in New Jersey, I would say, Judith, hi, Mary Beth at Keller Williams. I have an awesome offer for you and your client, and I would love to come over Tuesday night at 7 to present to your client personally. And I'd love for you to be there, of course. Could you arrange that? And Judith might say to me, oh, my clients, they only want me to present. And I would say, can you get that in writing for me? Because I really want to present my client the way that they should be presented. I want to represent them properly. And I just want to have that opportunity. And Judith, I want you to be there. I won't say anything. I'm just going to present it and I'll walk away. Then you can talk to your client. But a lot of times, and a lot of times you're not sure what they're going to do when they get that offer. How are they going to relay it to the seller? What if they have 4 offers? Are they truly making your client look as strong as possibly they are? And if you have a very challenging client where there's moving pieces, we're talking about all of the pieces of the offer, look, my client hired me to represent them. And to be fiduciary to them, it's best that I just come by, sit down with your seller and you, and present our offer. Right. So
without the buyer?
Without the buyer. Yeah. Without the buyer. Now, I've had the buyer there. That doesn't go so well, because then the buyer and the seller want to start talking. But when the agent that shows up, I've put offers together on the front porch with the other agent. We leave the seller alone. The seller's now talking to their listing agent, and then me and the other agent go outside and what do you want to do? What do you want to do? I'll call them up. We'll get the offer done. But sometimes, especially if, here's when you use it, when you have a big gap. Right. Somebody was on here the other day and it's 1.4, but it's being offered at 1.2, and the client's going like, what's the price? Right. Maybe they want to come in at 1.1. Well, maybe I want to sit in front of that seller and show them our comps and tell them why we're coming in at 1-1. Because guess what? The other agent is probably just going to say, it's 1-1, it's not going to go anywhere. Like, we'll get other offers. That's not going to represent me properly. So, and typically, here's the other thing I just don't want you guys to do. Don't just email the offer over and expect that the listing agent is seeing it. A phone call to say, hi, I'm presenting an offer. I'm sending it over to you. A text message. Hey, I sent you an offer in your email. Please call me to discuss. Can I tell you how many times I've had an offer sitting in my email when there's multiple offers on the table and the agent's like, you never called me back. Well, your email got lost in my emails and you never followed up. And yes, shame on me, but shame on you. Gosh, you had a client that put a offer of $550,000 and you didn't follow up. And now we're in attorney review at something, right? So it's very important that you're professional in this time of the business, presenting the offer. I like to think of sales as the ability to gracefully persuade, not to manipulate a person or persons into a win-win situation. They've raised their hand, they want to sell, they want to buy. You're not forcing them to do something that they don't want to do. You're just helping them make decisions. And that's why it's best, especially even if you're working with the buyers, to perform a CMA, a comparative market analysis. Don't let them say, well, you said, no, we looked at the comps together and you put this offer out there, right? Then the appraisal comes in and it's short and it's, well, you said, no, we looked at the comps and you put an offer. Iris, did you have something to share?
Oh, no, sorry. I was talking to my cat.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so here we are in just the offer process. Now this slide, and I'll share the slides. This slide is a good slide to have out there, right? The buyer makes an offer, the seller responds in one of these three ways. And when you're speaking to your seller, here's what you do tell them. You want to set this tone for, okay, we're going to market the property, we're having this big open house, and then what's going to happen next? We're going to get offers. When we get offers, here's what's going to happen. Mr. Seller, you have three options. You can either accept the offer, deny the offer, or we can counter offer the offer. I suggest we counter offer the offer, right? Now, even if it is full price, maybe there's some other offers coming in. I could counter the offer above asking if I wanted to. I don't know that I want to play that game, but yes, the seller still has three options: reject, accept, or counter. And the buyer as the same when the offer comes back at them. They can say, you know what, I don't like the offer that you gave me back, or hey, I accept that. Let's write up the deal, or let's negotiate more because I'm still not happy with what your terms are. And so if they counter the offer, we negotiate. If they accept the offer, we begin contract to close. And if they reject the offer, the buyer agent contacts the listing agent to learn more. Don't assume no means no. So the seller is rejecting the offer. You know, hey, Suze, just want to know, is there anything that we can do in our offer that would have your seller think differently about our offer? Well, you can come up in price. It may be, well, you want to move in 30 days, and that is not possible for my clients. No way, no how. They need a flexible closing date. And shame on you if that's the offer that you wrote and you didn't even call to ask them what were the things that the seller needed so that you could put the offer together. Right? So there's different parts of the offer. There's different parts of the offer, and preparing the offer, you have to ensure the property's still available. This is where you pick up the phone, you call the other agent, you text the other agent, hey, just want to make sure 123 Main Street's still available. Because shame on you to be writing up offers or getting people's high hopes and the property's really not available. Right. And I know that could happen. I know that somebody could not be answering. Maybe they're out of the country. Nobody really got back to you. But absolutely know the status of the property before you go and start talking to the client about potentially putting an offer. Build rapport with the listing agent. Oh, you're from that. What area are you from? Oh, are you from? Oh, I'm from here. Oh, how long you been in the business? Oh, you sound fantastic. I love your marketing. Oh, you always have such great listings. Oh, you got great shoes. I mean, I've seen some real fancy girls out there in the islands. So there's always something that you can compliment, build rapport with the listing agent, inquire about the activity. Hey, has there been a lot of showings on this property? I see that it's a hot property. Now, some of you might just know it's a hot property, but I do think you should just ask. Hey, I'm sure you've had some showings, more than normal. Inquire about other offers. Have you had any other offers? Now, if you're still in a hot market, Judith, has your seller denied any offers? Right? That's how I would present that. Has your seller denied any offers? Which would tell me that they've had lowball offers. If she's like, yeah, they had two come in, they're not interested in taking them. Oh, was it because of price? Assume it's because of price if they have had a few come in. And so now you know that, all right, my buyer's not so crazy. One needs to come in a little bit lower. And don't take no for an answer, because you know what? That seller now is conditioned to see that 1-1 come in instead of 1-4 or 1-2. Now they've seen 2 times, and guess what? They've bought their house back 2 times for 1.1 because they've just said, nope, I have a buyer here with $1.1 million. They want to give it to me. And I say, no, I want 1-2. I want 1-4. Okay. It's going to give you a little insight about the mindset of the seller and how to play that if your buyer really wants a house. Ask questions about the motivation, like why, Judith, hey, why is the seller selling? If you don't mind me asking, are they going to be moving in Ireland, or are they moving back to Holland? How they want to receive the offer. I'm not sure if you're on the island now. Would you prefer that I put it through email? Would you prefer I drop it off at your office? If I could drop it off at their office and they're going to be sitting at their desk, even if I can't present in front of the seller, I would like to shake the hand of Judith and hand her my contract, if at all possible, just to make a little nicey nice. Or is she going to be at an open house? I could stop by and drop it off there. Make it a little easier, right? Just the face-to-face matters. Obtain the buyer's approval from the lender. That's the first very, very important in the beginning. You should be having that before you even take them out. Review MLS and tax records. See what data you can get on this property. Maybe you find out that that's not the owner that's selling the property. So is this a transferable property? Now, I hope you don't have to deal with that too much, but I'm sure, it does happen. And hey, I've checked. It is the tax. We're good to go. This is the owner. And then produce a comparative market analysis and obtain a seller's disclosure statement and other needed documents. Your seller's disclosure is given by the listing. Now, I don't know do you have a seller's disclosure on the islands? I will send you one of what it looks like. Judith says yes. We have like a 8-page one or 5 pages of the seller just disclosing anything and everything that they know about their house. When the roof, when the plumbing, when the this, the septic, the that. And a lot of times they go, NA, NA, NA. I have no idea. Don't know. Not going to be my problem. All I would say is, as a real estate agent, do not sign off on anything that your seller is saying they know about their house. That is for the seller to disclose and for the buyer to accept the disclosure, not for the agent to actually say, yep, I validated that. Because who are you to validate that they put a roof on 17 years ago, right? And then we write up the offer. And so when we gather all that information, what if the seller says, look, they're most, and I say to Judith, the listing agent, Judith, what is the most important term for your seller? What's the most important term? Is it when they move? Is it the price? Is it the down payment? Like, what is it? And she's like, you know what? They don't care. They really need the money. So now I know I need to lead with money. But if she tells me that, they have to get out of here in 30 days. So they're getting out of here. I know that it's going to be beneficial to somebody that they'll be able to have a quick closing. Well, I'm going to talk to my clients. Can we give them that? Buyers, can we close in 45 days? Judith's clients want to close in 45 days. I know you originally said 3 months, but if we do 45 days, maybe it buys you 10,000, 20,000 in the price. Maybe it just gets you the house because there's 4 other offers and nobody else could accommodate a 45-day closing. Right? Make sure it's possible. Make sure your notary, your bank, make sure everybody's on board when you're going to promise that you can close within 45, 60 days, whatever, is a fast close. I know it's not so fast. Here we can close things in about 20 days. If everybody's on board, 20 days, but typically 45. So we're writing up the offer, and in the offer, like I said, price and terms. Terms are also going to be contingencies in that, are they willing to say, I'm just going to do an inspection, just for my knowledge, but it's going to be completely as is. You're not going to, no requirement of fixes. Is it, I have a home to sell, so I need that money in order to purchase this property, but assuming I sell that, I will purchase at this. That's a home sale contingency. That's a little challenging to get through in a tough market. But if you have a challenging property that's not moving, hey, what are you losing? take a home sale contingency. So price and terms are usually going to be, like I said, the contingencies, the timelines, and also how much money they'll be putting down for deposits. And if you are working with people from the States, you do want to educate them that they need to put a lot more money down than they think they have to put down. You know, typically the bank prepared me to say that I would have to put down 40% minimal. And that's not what we see here. Here, you can get any kind of loan for 20% down. So if it is somebody coming from the States thinking that they could put 20% down, you want to educate them up front about how much liquidity they'll need to be able to close on a property. Seller's disclosure, do they have one? Conveyances, earnest money, how much money are they going to put up front? You know, are they going to put 5%, 10%? Let's say they're buying a $500,000 house. How much money are they willing to hold in escrow during the whole transaction? They're not going to have that money in their bank account. How much money are they willing to put up front so that the seller feels like they're taking a risk? Right? That's really what that's about, is the seller goes, well, at least they have $40,000 in the bank. They're not going to walk away from this deal for $40,000. Right? So that's where earnest money matters. But it really, at the end of the day, the money's going to be at the table. So if they don't have it, it's not a term that I would, you know, not take an offer because of. Due diligence, inspection periods, time of the seller's acceptance. You know, maybe you want to turn around in 48 hours. You know, hey, Judith, I'm giving you this offer, but I also put a clause in there that this offer is rescinded in 48 hours. Because you know what? I don't want you to take my offer and go dangle it around to the other 10 agents and say, yeah, but Mary Beth had an offer and it came in at this. And I'm waiting 5 days, but you basically took my offer and used it as bait. So we do see a 48-hour turnaround, a 72-hour turnaround. And the truth is the seller could just say no. They could say we reject it. They also can just counter it. And then financing terms and the buyer pre-approval letter, a closing date that everybody's super comfortable with, not just like just put a 45-day date. Home warranty, we have those here. I don't know if you have those on the island, where they will be a 13-month warranty on all major systems like hot water heater and furnace. And nope, we don't have that. Okay, something that maybe this is a company I could start on the islands. I'm trying to figure out how to get there full time. Home warranty is super cool. We pay like $500 and it will cover the new buyer for 13 months. God forbid anything breaks in those 13 months that are major, it will get replaced for a very small fee, like $100. So that's a home warranty. Repair limits, special clauses, and then an addenda. So we're preparing the offer.
Mary Beth,
And
can you send us one from your market center, an offer form? How it looks like?
I'm sorry, 1 second.
Okay.
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Can you send an offer form that you use for your market center to us?
Yeah.
So as an example.
Absolutely. So, and also we have two things. So one, in New Jersey, we write a full contract, a full legal contract that basically we wouldn't even need the notary. We wouldn't even need an attorney. If everybody signs off, it would be an executed contract in 3 days. So that's one. That's one. And then we just have an offer to purchase, which is how we operate in New York. And we take that and we give it to the attorney once it's an agreed upon offer to purchase. So I'll send both. So you review the contract, you be sure that the buyer understands it all, because this is not, now I will tell you, in a market like now, we do see people do bait and switch, right? Just gonna be honest. Buyer needs to put 20% down. Does the buyer have 20% down? Yeah, but they're not really going to put 20% down. And at the end of the day, when the mortgage commitment comes in, as long as they have one, they're good. If they can't get one, they're going to be in breach of contract anyway. So what we have is, because there's so many offers on one property here in New Jersey, we may give them a pre-approval that shows 20% down. We may write a contract with 20% down, and God forbid the buyer has to go 20% down. They can, but they don't they probably aren't going to, but just for the strength of their offer, they're going to show that they have 20% down. We also have veteran loans. Okay. Veteran loans is 0% down. But even with that, hi, Troy. Even with that, we will advise a veteran, hey, put $10,000 up front or 15,000 or 20,000 up front. You're going to get it back at closing, but show some strength in your offer, because a seller doesn't want to take their house off the market and they got $0 sitting in the bank as escrow. So, just think about what it feels like from the seller's side to get excited about this offer. Review details like price, closing date, inspection, know the essentials in your area. Maybe there's a building that has an assessment. I'm sure with the condo buildings, there may be some things that are lingering that maybe only certain people would know, that you should be disclosing to the buyers before they get into contract. Just nothing good or bad, but how about when there's like a initial fee that they have to pay, and then the monthly fee that they have to pay, and maybe they have to put a couple months up. They should know that before they get into this contract. And then know the standard of the common terms of offers in your area and avoid rookie agent mistakes. Clear it with one of your leaders. If this is your first offer, don't just send it. Clear it with one of your leaders. Say, could you take a look at my offer? Make sure it's going to go in, it's going to be solid, and then kind of walk me through what I need to say to that agent, because I'm going to present it and I want to role play that before I go and real play it and I mess up. Right. And so I'm coming in and I'm saying, okay, double check all my documents, follow my instructions, label all the documents clearly, because I'm going to go drop this off at Judith and she's going to be like, wow, she's so organized. I want to work with her. And remember, this is also a recruiting opportunity. If you make this transaction go smoothly with that agent, at the end of this transaction, you should be saying, hey, why don't you take a call from my team leader? Susie's going to give you a call. Yarno's going to give you a call, because you are fabulous to work with, right? So you want the same impression from you to the agents. I don't want to get a call that Judith is a hot mess and, do you guys even train your agents over there? Right? We want the reverse. We want Judith was a doll to work with. So, email the summary. When you send an email, put a summary page. Don't just attach the documents. Attach the documents and label the documents appropriately. Like save them and say offer 4267. And then on the email, make sure you have, okay, here's the notary they're using, here's the bank they're using, here's my information. Like you're giving a full, like, this is everybody on the team. We're ready to go. And then consult with your buyer that you're going to go ahead and send it over. Okay. So before you send it over, make sure the offer is complete, that everything's filled out, confirm the receipt of offer. You're going to call, right? We're calling to make sure that they got it. Get the offer to the seller in a timely manner, create executive summary, call the buyer's agent, call the lender. I'm sorry, when you're receiving the offer. So when you're receiving the offer, you're the listing agent. Yes, the first thing is make sure the offer is complete. Make sure, call the agent, tell the agent, hey, I got your offer. To let you know, we're going to be going over it and I'll get back to you on Saturday. We're going over all the offers. Let them know what's going on. Right. So get it to the, don't let it linger. Also, don't like collect all the offers and then give them to the seller like a week later. That's not okay. That offer should be presented within 48 hours, really. And then create executive summary for the seller. Command has an amazing multiple offer tool. If you have multiple offers coming in, some of you may just want to use a Google form. Let's say if you have a whole bunch of offers coming in, you just ask people to put the terms into the Google form and then also send you over so that you can keep it organized. Call the lender on the buyer's side. Hey, Aruba Bank, I just wanted to check in. I'm the listing agent of 123, and it looks like Judith has an offer with her clients, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. How well qualified are those clients? You can do that, and that's what you should be doing for your seller. And then create an outline document to reference when you call the sellers, which is that command sheet or, just the email that the agent should send over would probably give you all that data as well.
I think
And then,
I think in Aruba, the bank won't give that information.
okay.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And but so if you can't give that information, at least make the other information easy to get. If you're dealing with this loan officer and this is my information, I just don't want you to have to find me. Like, let's get it out there. So then creating the offer in command, that helps you get your platform going to give you your percentages as well as get your commissions in command. It gives our leadership, and I'm going to say this, if you do not put your commissions in command, our leadership will not know that your transaction is happening unless they are fishing in the system looking for your deals. Okay, so please be a stellar, awesome agent. And once you have an opportunity, create it. If you meet a buyer at an open house and they're an opportunity, create it. The minute that you have a deal going with them, put the commission in command. Then, in Aruba, Marianne will know, hey, we have 17 deals going on. Otherwise, Marianne is going, oh my gosh, do we have any business coming in this month? Okay. And as we grow, that will be more and more important. And then, like, once again, receive, review, and respond. It goes down to this, whether you're the seller also has the 3 ways of responding: buyer, negotiating, go to the contract. And so your goal is to help them reach a decision. It's not to get stuck in the middle of this. It's not to get stuck into the emotions of like, I can't believe, now here's one. I can't believe that they gave an offer. It's a $500,000 house and they make an offer for 400. Let's just even say 400, 450 on 500. And they're insulted. They're insulted. Oh, I can't believe they gave me an offer, but they've had 17 showings and this is the first offer that's come in. I'm going to say to my seller, I love you dearly. And let's not get mad at the one couple that's actually writing the offer. You had 16 others that came through and said, no, thank you. And the offer that's come in is 90% of what you're asking. Let's put it in perspective. It's a 10% gap. Let's squeeze the gap. And now we're just like unemotional. Don't get hooked on the 450, the 500. This is We have an offer at hand and they're a qualified buyer. You hired me to do the right thing. We didn't have any other offers with the 17 buyers that came through. What do you want to do? Okay. And there are times where you just need to shut your mouth and sit on your hands and wait for them to cave. Ugh, all right. Well, you think they'd go 475? Nope. It's 450. Best offer. Right. So there are ways to respond to offers that will not procure a transaction, but let's debrief a little bit on presenting offers, writing offers. Anybody have any stories that you'd like to share or ahas from that material? And Edwin was great sharing as we were going as well. All right, so I will send over the offer forms, our contracts, so that you guys can make your best forms possible without any real estate commission. You guys are really the wild, wild west. So, just the one thing I would say, please, let's be united, a united front. Let's not have a million different agreements running around the islands. Let your leadership team decide what the form is. And yes, you could always make little adjustments like, oh, I needed to add a comment here. But let's not let our leadership team go crazy with, what's this agreement say and what's this agreement say? Please let that come from your leadership team. Okay. And so it is really good to role play. If you are going to present an offer, just grab somebody in the office. Who cares if they're even an agent? Just like, hey, can I pretend you're the buyer or you're the other agent? I want to just present this offer and see how it sounds. Right. And so as I was saying, with that 90%, if I had an offer like that I would be calling Judith. Hey, Judith, it's Mary Beth over Keller Williams. Thanks for the information on that client that you shared with me. I understand that they need to be out as soon as possible. So my clients are coming in with a very strong offer. They are willing to accommodate that 45-day closing. Right. We already have everybody lined up. And so we are coming in with a strong down payment of $100,000, and our offer is 90% of what you're asking. It's at $450,000. That's it. Do not start validating why. Let Judith, like, I don't think my seller is going to accept that. Well, they can accept, they can reject, or they can counter. And listen, Judith, you and I are in the business to put deals together. So let's go. You know, when can I expect to hear back? My clients are expecting to hear back within 48 hours. Is that fair enough? Yeah, sure. Okay, great. I'll expect to hear back. Good luck. Call me if you need anything. Call our lender if you'd like. Right. And you might have to guide the other agent. Call the lender if you'd like, because you have a really strong client putting $100,000 down. Right. So that's what that would sound like. And then I'd give her some time to go ahead and talk to her clients. And like I said before, I might want to, now it's a $400,000 offer on a property that's been sitting there for a year. The house is at 500 and I'm offering 400, and it's been sitting for a year and nobody's looking at it anymore. Judith, could I come present in front of your sellers? I'd love for you to be there, but maybe after a year, maybe they need to hear from a different voice, right? And guys, if you're the listing agent with that seller for a year, maybe it's not a bad idea to let Edwin come over and present in front of your seller. Maybe you've been saying the same damn thing that Edwin's been saying, but when it comes from Edwin, like when it comes from your teenager's best friend's mom, it sounds much different. Sounds like a great idea. I should do that. Right. So we have to, think about, we're not manipulating. We're helping people make decisions that they asked us to help them make. We're not allowing them to lose. Okay. So in negotiating, what is negotiating? It's not something to be avoided or feared. It's an everyday part of life. You are always negotiating something. I know that my 13-year-old is negotiating with me constantly. So we negotiate in our personal life and our business life at all times. All times. We had to negotiate on brushing his teeth today. And I said, I'm not driving to school. Get out of the car and go brush the teeth. Like, this is not even a negotiable. Right. So sometimes you just don't even know what people's problems are. Why can't they get it? But we're here to help people win. So once again, we always have to look at the Y4C2Ts. And like we said, the offer comes in, we accept it, we go to close. And this is laying it out to the seller. The offer comes in, you reject it, you counter it, we negotiate, we go around in circles. You accept it or reject it. If we accept it, we move on to close. This is not, and if we don't like it, you might have to go through it. Your seller might have to go through a few offers before they have a come to Jesus moment that this is the price of my house. Or, I don't like that everybody's writing a 4 something when it's 5, but I keep getting 430 as an offer. Well, that's the number. Guess what, guys? Here's your language. The market has spoken. Looks like the market's spoken. How about when nobody comes to the house? If you remember back in the last, a lot of sessions ago, no showings, no offers. The market has spoken. What do you mean? Nobody even came to look. It spoke. They didn't see the value. Edwin?
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
You write an offer, and
Do we
then
write it?
you write an offer, and then you send it to the seller, seller's agents, and then you start negotiating. You negotiate by WhatsApp, email, and then you write an offer again when it's done, or you write an offer and every time again when you high the price.
No, great question. Great question. Because like if it's a negotiating where we're going to get to the end at some point, like back and forth, we're actually negotiating over the phone. And then when we come to the final agreement, we're going to rewrite the offer, send it out for signature. However, there definitely are times where a buyer just comes to us, stalemate. Like, okay, let's say 450, 500, and now they come up to 480 and the seller's still at 485 and we're just stuck. All right, I'm going to send you over the 480 then. I'm going to send you the 480 because maybe we still have to squeeze up to 485, but right now my buyer's not moving. So I'm going to give you our best in writing so that now, Edwin, you can go take that to your seller and say, are you really going to deny this? This is the only offer we've seen in 3 years, right? But for the most part, no, we're negotiating until we get to the final numbers and then we're rewriting the contract, sending it out for signatures. Yeah, good point. Okay, so who are you negotiating with? Oh, well, you're negotiating with everybody, even yourself sometimes, because you'll have an opinion of what the house is worth. You'll have an opinion of what the buyer should come in like. Sometimes, you can't even believe what it's getting. And sometimes you're like, I can't believe it didn't get what I thought it would get. And so you have to get out of that. But you're negotiating with your client and you're negotiating with the other agent. You're negotiating with your client when you get the feedback and it's like, okay, they came back at 495 and you're at 450. So now you got to go back to your client and say, hey, you know what? Listen, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we have fantastic news. They are playing ball with us. They've thrown the ball back to our court, and they have now come in to 495. What would you like to do? Oh my God, that's ridiculous. It's insulting. We go back to, well, you have three things we could do. We could counter offer, we could accept it, or we could reject it. What would you like to do? Right? So it's like a it's like a circle. It's like a circle. You keep going around in a circle until you get to the final numbers, or we all walk away friends, right? So one is the price, usually the primary factor, cost of the property, and two are the terms, either financial, time-based, or both. And we talked about all of those. And then the three P's, right? The three P's are for really anything: prepare, present, and position. If you are not prepared going into creating an offer, crafting an offer, or negotiating an offer, and what I mean by prepared is, did you see those comps that you're talking about? I mean, listen, if it's an over asking and you know the value and you just got to, the offers don't even make sense sometimes. I see houses that I'd pay maybe $850 for, and they're going for 1.2. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's just the only house on the block, and somebody wanted it that badly because their sister lives next door. I don't know. That's the kind of stuff that happens that you can't prepare for. But if you knew the market, you could easily say, like, look, that's just a crazy offer. That's somebody emotionally purchasing. And so be it, right? But preparing would be seeing the properties that absolutely matter to these comps, maybe whether it's viewing them internally or just doing the drive-by, really studying them on the market, on the MLS, or whatever data you have to really prepare, knowing the client through and through, like not just kind of knowing the client when they ask you, well, how come they can't close in 45 days? Well, the reason why is because they have a son that's in school and he'll get out June 20th. And so, right. So don't go, I don't know. Now, if you don't know an answer, that's a great question. Let me get that answer for you. What else do you have on this that I should be at? Because I'll go back to my client and I'll get you the right answers. So preparing is key to building confidence and confidence in you. Presenting, move into negotiating process by presenting the offer. Once again, if you can't do it in person, how about on Zoom? How about, hey, Judith, could I just grab a 15-minute Zoom with you? I want to go over our client's offer, and I'll pop it up on the screen so I could show you. I mean, how many of us are asking to do that? That's just a little bit extra. Now, if I have 5 offers, the one that Zoomed with me definitely stands out. And position, move both parties closer until you have a full agreement. We call it passing the tennis ball, doing the dance, right? Use that percentage gap. 10% squeezing it down. And if you know what properties go for, like we used to have a market where properties sold for about 96% of asking. Now we're at about 106 of asking. Some markets have slowed down. We see 98% in some, but for the most part, when we were at 96%, and we knew that the market was yielding 96% of original list price to sell price. When I bring an offer and it's 90% of asking, don't get so offended. Let's just squeeze it up to the national, I mean, the local average, 96. So what's that mean? We got to come up, blah, blah, blah. We're not that off. Kind of spin it a little bit. Okay. Preparing, once again, know your goal. Your goal is to get the house. Your goal is to get the house sold. Know your client. Understand when you're pushing them too much, or they need a little break, or do they have to see it? Maybe somebody has to see it. You need to go there. Some clients, you could just shoot a text, like, here's the offer, here's what came in. Nothing can move people through a text. Like, you have to hear tonality. Because guess what? If that house is 500,000, it's been sitting for a year, and they have a 4 anything offer, a 460 offer, here's what it might sound like. When Judith tells me, no, that's crazy, that's insulting. Judith, I'm concerned for you. What? I'm very concerned for you. You had a dream. You had a dream to sell this house. You want to be blah, 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 blah. You want to be here when blah, 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 blah. And now you have an offer in your hand, and I'm concerned that you won't see another offer like this again. What will you do if you don't have another offer like this come in? Right? So that's what it sounds like, because you have to have some tough conversations. And if you remember in previous sessions, we said tough conversations is fiduciary. It is fiduciary to have the guts to say to somebody, I'm concerned for you. You're making what you said you wanted and what you're doing are two totally different. They're not even parallel. Talk to me. What's going on? Have you changed your mind? No, I just got they get so emotional in it sometimes. Maybe, they don't like the way the negotiating went, but thinking ahead, setting clear expectations, being informed, obeying the laws, of course, and knowing documents inside and out. All you got to do is read them. You just got to read them and read the contract, read the offer that you're putting together, ask purposeful questions, provide you with points you'll negotiate on. What happens if they do come back at 490? Where would you go then? What's the most that you think you'd go for this house? What's holding you back from going full price? Could you put more money down if that was important to the seller? Like, let's just explore all options that I might need to pull out of the rabbit hat so that I'm prepared on a whim to go, yeah, we can make that happen. Well, if they could close in 30 days, could we? Yeah, my client can do that. Deal. Let's go. They come up 10,000 and they close in 30 days. I can make that happen. Right? I'm confident because I already asked the buyer where they would go and they told me they go 20,000 more. So it will help you create a win-win negotiating for all parties. At the end of the day, that seller wants the house sold. If it was worth more, it'd be sold already. Open versus closed-ended questions, right? What additional information should I know? What's important about that to you? What's important about closing in 30 days? How do you feel about that? Instead of, do you have to sell the home in a specific time? No. Okay. Well, do you have any other offers? No. What's the bottom line price you'd consider? I don't know. It'd be very easy to not get where you want with closed-ended questions. So practice open-ended questions. Maybe write some down that you already use and role play them with each other. A really fun exercise to do in the offices, if you have like a rally or something, line everybody up, pair everybody up. If it's 10 people, 5 and 5, and now we can keep shifting. And you just keep going down the line and you just shift and you just keep asking questions. And if you can't ask a question, then you're out. Right? So last man standing asking questions wins. And it's question. Okay, next question. Because he who asks the most questions controls the conversation. And so the better at question asking, at presenting, writing offers, at negotiating, the more you will get what you want out of life. All right. So what would happen if? Helps you anticipate. Why is this important to you? Helps you gain more information. And take action. So instructions. This is to work with a partner. So this would be something that you would do in office. Present. Best practices when presenting. We talked a lot about this. Call the other agent. Pay attention to nonverbal clues. They start shutting. Anybody ever be in a meeting, all of a sudden, they do this. Right? Or you're in the meeting with the seller and they're sitting like this. And before you know it, they lean in. Well, you just got their attention. Now they're interested in something. They do this, they're closed off. I'm trying to protect myself. I don't want you, I want to let you in. Okay. Now, some people have a bad back and they need to stretch. So don't always take that. Like maybe, is your back okay? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Maybe they loosen up a little bit, right? They realize, hey, I'm putting it on the front and I don't want to do that. But pay attention to those nonverbal clues. Keep quiet once you present the offer. I said that. Sit on your hands if you have to. Listen carefully. What's important? When they give you the surface answer, say, tell me a little more about that. And why? Why else? Stay calm, stay relaxed, focus on customers' needs, and give your offer the best chance. The best chance, guys. And then position. And don't make assumptions that offer is not going to go anywhere. Don't assume that seller hasn't seen offers and is like glad to see any offer and will just take the offer. So, go for it. Don't discourage your clients to not put offers. So then position, acknowledge and firm common ground, ask what and how questions, know that positioning is a process, and know when to walk away. And that's a question of at what price are we walking away? At what price it's not of value anymore? Or what price would you go up to that you would not lose sleep, that somebody else is sleeping in it? Okay, what is that price for you? Tell me what I'm not going to make you go up to that, but I need to know what is your threshold. Okay. And then negotiating tips. Be professional, keep your goal in mind, pay attention to your communication and your tone with everybody. If you're having a bad day, it might show up on your call. So, just check yourself. Continually refer to your client's motivation when speaking with them. Well, remember you wanted to be out here by June, so let's make sure that this offer, can get done by then. And they're like, yeah, you're right. Because you might hear like, well, not really. We actually can come out there by September now. And you're like, oh, so it's changed. What's changed with that? Right. And so you might have thought that was a great motivation, and now you just found out that that motivation is poof, gone. Then it says, don't reveal too much, listen more than talking, keep your client's motivations close to your chest, and don't be attached to the outcome. It's not your outcome, it's your client's. Okay. And don't let the client, unless the client says yes, tell them everything. You don't need to tell the other side the motivation and the whys you need to present your client very strongly. And if you find that there's a time where, hey, you know what, Mr. Smith, I think if we let them know that the reason we need the ramp is because in a few years you are going to need a wheelchair. Maybe now's the time to interject that in the negotiating. You might not lead with that, but the client might say, like when it's time, could you tell them that I really need this house because it's wheelchair accessible? Right. So, but don't assume that it's okay to open that up without their approval. All right. And that is on negotiating, preparing the offers, negotiating, writing the offers. And I'm happy to provide you guys with everything that we use. And like, once again, I said, please make sure that your leadership puts out your final version of forms that you are going to be using on each island. So anybody have any questions? I need at least 2 ahas before I get out of here. I was just saying in the beginning, I got Jason Abrams right in that room doing value squared in live in person. We want to encourage you to get on that on Connect. But let's get at least 2 ahas about writing offers, negotiating, representing our clients.
Yes. I think for us it's an added value because we're getting into the last part of the negotiation with the direct contact with seller and buyer. And I think it's very welcome information for either the veteran agents in Curacao, but also the new ones to get practice in that. And those guidelines are really helping. So that's definitely a
Great. Great. Thank you, Yarno. Yarno, are you actually the team leader there? Who's the team leader?
That's me.
He is the team leader. If he didn't have the title, I'm giving it to you. You're always my guy that just, comes out. You're just so team leaderish. I love it. But yes, it is good. And the truth is, we have like 6,000 agents in one of our MLSs. It's just one MLS. I think there's 60,000 agents in New Jersey alone. But 6,000 agents, no, they don't do this. Like 5% of them do it the right way, the formal way. And so will you all do it? Probably not. I just would encourage you that I know that the agents that do represent themselves professionally in this manner absolutely have a great rapport, have a great downline, have a great business. It's just the way you should want to present yourself. All right. So one more aha, and I will let you guys go.
I got one question. What if
Yes.
Seller and buyer is from the same office? Seller agent and buying agents. You do it differently or is it the same?
No, completely the same. Completely the same. In New Jersey, we have dual agency and we have a lawsuit that just happened. I'm sure you're seeing it all over the place. So we may change. We may not have dual agency in years to come, but right now we do have dual agency. Technically, the broker represents both the buyer and the seller, and that's not very welcoming for the buyer to know that they don't really have, like, they don't feel like they have representation because we got into a relationship with the seller first. So it is hard to stay in our corners, but the truth is the broker, Adele Demore, she doesn't get involved with the negotiating, and we try to tell the clients that. So yes, it is, and it's very common, Edwin, here, because we are the #1 agency in the whole New Jersey. So, I mean, we have 1,600 agents in a 5 market center span, and they're all under the same broker. So they're all dual agents. We're constantly selling each other's listings. So yes, we operate just the same way. although there are extra legal ramifications if we don't operate properly. So teaching Ignite in Aruba, Bonaire and Curacao. Okay. All right, guys. I am going to we have one more session on Ignite, which is next Thursday. And it is Holy Week. I know that it's a very quiet week for us. If we're good with that though, I'm good because it's a quiet week that I would love to still have it on that Thursday, the 28th. Okay, great. And then I am actually going to be in Aruba just for a short stay, April 15th to April 22nd. Woo, Suze, you're gonna have to come see my house. And then my next trip, I promise that I will make it to other islands, but I will be there. And I know Suze and Jill, Suze and Jill and Xenia are planning something for me to do on Aruba. So if you are going to be on Aruba that week, just check out our Aruba leadership for what we're going to be doing. But we're going to do something like a mastermind or something, so I can get together with my peeps. All right, guys, thank you so much. And I will see you next Thursday. Have a great weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay, bye.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.